Hello there, very good morning and welcome to Monday's edition of Newsline with me, Shane Silva, and with me in the newsroom this morning I've got Faraz Shaukat Ali. Good morning, Faraz.
Morning, Shane, and how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you, Faraz. And how was your weekend?
Absolutely top form.
Well, Faraz, unfortunately we've had some tragic news that came to light over the weekend. I'm referring to the discovery of the missing girl, the 5-year-old girl, Seya Sadewmini, whose body was discovered close to a canal. And of course that story has made the headlines this morning in several newspapers in this morning, which actually also then brings me to the topic of the death penalty, because this discovery of this little girl's body, social media platforms, they've been discussing this in the wake of this girl's body, that the enforcement of the death penalty is something that needs to be looked at again. Faraz, what are your thoughts on this, on the death penalty enforcement?
Now that it's in place, it would be good if it is enforced. But Sri Lankans seem to have a problem with this, because on the one, it's reflective. This incident to me is reflective of much else in this country, where there's a lot of talk and resolve to do things, but when it comes to action, there are no players, and it's sad.
It is indeed sad for us, because crimes such as crimes against innocent parties, such as children, they seem to be on the rise since of late, and there is actually no mechanism to bring a person, or even if there is a mechanism, there is no punishable, there is no death penalty, there is nothing concrete which actually would deter someone from committing a crime like that, or maybe even thinking twice about committing a crime like that. What are your thoughts on that for us?
Well, that's true. I think this country has a problem matching the death penalty with its ecclesiastical beliefs, and so I think that is the thing that
the tug of war, basically.
Yes, and that's always a problem. But we must also recognize that in such cases, this when there is absolutely unimpeachable evidence and the entire appeal process has been played out, then if push has come to shove, then the man must hang, or the woman even. That should be the deterrent, because like much else in this country, you get caught with the police and you just know that you can have it fixed. And this is on a grander scale.
Yeah. Of course. We're taking a look at other stories that have made the headlines this morning for us. Of course, we have two other stories. One is Prime Minister's visit to India, and of course the UNHRC sessions that are going to be starting today. No SEPA this time. This is a statement by the Development Strategies and International Trade Minister Malik Samaravikrama in light of the Prime Minister's visit to India. TN poachers set free ahead of Prime Minister's visit to India. That's a story that made the headlines in the island, as well as Sri Lanka to release 18 Indian fishermen to mark PM's visit. Again, another story with regards to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to India, which will take place today. For us, in a nutshell, how do you see the Prime Minister's visit to India and the importance? It is the first visit undertaken by the Premier, I understand, overseas after becoming Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, in this case Mr. Wickremesinghe, has a long love affair with India, and of course it's essential to maintain a very close relationship with India, especially as Sri Lanka perhaps turns its way towards a service economy, and India is just sitting right above there, just waiting. And along with these good relations, we're hopeful that Prime Minister Modi will be indulgent towards his tiny neighbour. In financial terms, it will be absolutely nothing for the superpower, but for Sri Lanka, it represents a huge opportunity that needs to be explored in detail. And with Mr. Wickremesinghe's contacts there, especially his contacts in South India, things may well look hopeful.
The comprehensive, or rather, yes, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, also known as CEPA. Now, that again has risen as a topic of discussion and debate. You mentioned the fact that Sri Lanka is looking to be a more services-oriented economy. This agreement hasn't really come to light for the past 15 or so years.
Yes, but there is a natural sort of fear that if this is implemented, then Sri Lanka will be almost engulfed by Indian workers and so on and so forth. But I think it's probably going to be the other way around. More opportunities for us. And if the Prime Minister pursues the link, the road link, the bridge to India, then of course the economy will take a completely different turn and give us even more opportunities.
So, of course, we've had different parties, for example, the JVP, who have...
The only one thing that, if I may say so, Shane, is that the appointment of Mr. Malik Samaravikrama as minister is rather puzzling to me. Mr. Wickremesinghe, Mr. Samaravira is a acknowledged good hand at business and has a background in accounting, and he's been in the rag trade. But I'm not so sure that that gives him the necessary qualification to march straight into the cabinet with such an important role. And I'm wondering whether this is more to do with his personal loyalty to the Prime Minister as opposed to what he can do.
For us, you seem to be knowing a bit more than what exactly is making the headlines in the papers this morning. Would you care to elaborate on something else?
Well, yes, what has not been reported in the press, or what I haven't read anyway, is that Prime Minister Wickremesinghe has been so stressed out, obviously, with all these goings-on, that there was a need for him to take his almost obligatory break in the south. But this time round, he actually went to Pasikuda, accompanied with quite a big entourage of his close confidants and friends. And whilst he was there was somebody else also who had the same sort of idea, and that was no less than Mahinda Rajapaksa, former president and now member of parliament, who was enjoying some quality time with his son Naman.
In Pasikuda? In
Pasikuda, and we have a photograph which has appeared in the web of President Rajapaksa looking apprehensive but on a jet ski. And there you are, the strong man of Sri Lankan politics. He was on there, and to me that again gave this wonderful sense of here's the strong man. But when our guest joins us, I'll tell you the second bit about Pasikuda.
All right. On that note, we've got our guest this morning. He is none other than former Minister, Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena. He is the Vice President of UPF and also the leader of the MEP. Good morning, Mr. Gunawardena. For us, over to you.
Right. Shall I just do this bit about Pasikuda?
Of
get
course,
it out of the way.
Yes.
Pasikuda, the hotel that the Prime Minister is staying at, was previously in the ownership, many years ago, in the ownership of his family. And there was a very eco-friendly structure. It was a cabana.
Okay.
And Mr. Wickremesinghe obviously is on familiar territory, because long time ago he took a group of 14 friends with him and went there, and this whole cabana collapsed under the collective weight of him and his friends. And I think that Mr. Gunawardena was also one of those 14 people. Were you?
Long ago.
Long ago?
Very long ago.
Okay. Well,
all right.
There's a fabulous hotel there now, and this is where he was staying, and President Rajapaksa staying next door. And they did meet on the beach, by the way, and they had they exchanged pleasantries. I don't know if anything else happened more substantial. However, having said all that, Mr. Dinesh, whither the opposition? What's going on in Parliament?
Yeah, I think the opposition, soon after the election, it has almost historical parliament with a very close finish. The only parliament which had a very close finish in this manner, so the opposition had 95.
Yeah.
Though the numbers have been depleting because of the offer of portfolios, the numbers are overwhelmingly in UPFA majority in the opposition.
So what happened to this move of 57 people, members from the UPFA, who wanted to see the appointment of Kumar Welgama as the leader of the opposition? What happened there then?
Yeah, the problem is, for us, for the first time,
Yeah.
the numbers have been ignored, I'm sorry to say, by the chair. You have to recognize the numbers first, because you draw a line in the middle. To the right would be the government and to the left would be the opposition. Then you count on who would have the bigger numbers.
Right.
So very clearly the signatories had the bigger number of over 55. How it could be ignored by the chair is a very surprising thing. You get a letter from outside of someone writing a letter or saying, secretary or the UPFA, we are not interested in the leader of the opposition chief, excluding so and so, so and so.
Yeah.
I think that is not the way Parliament should behave. It is only up to the Speaker, because the Speakers have continuously declared Parliament is above all others, even above the judiciary.
Okay.
Because it's the legislature of the people.
Yeah.
Now, why should the Speaker listen to someone who's already in a political controversy to prevent the fair number, the overwhelming majority in the opposition getting their representative as the leader of the opposition? So now we are in confusion. 16 plus perhaps 16 of the TNA plus 6 of the JVP together, but perhaps more than double the numbers not in their political group. How can Parliament run? This is the crisis today.
Would it be fair to say that the group of 57 made a tactical blunder by writing to the leader of their party rather than to the Speaker?
Yeah, one could argue that it was a tactical blunder. But for us, I think the role of the Speaker is to recognize and to announce. He does not listen to anyone. That has been the role right through. Speakers of the Parliament have just recognized the person from the bigger number and announced. And this is the first time. If you have a confused state, for us, the days of Mr. Bandaranaike, Andrew Bandaranaike,
Yeah.
he was small in number.
Yeah.
He was just 11. We were all summoned by Speaker E.L. Senanaike and discussed for about half an hour. And then in the afternoon, he announced the Speaker. He did not ask for letters from anyone. He did not take notice of any letters that were sent to him.
Do you think our Honourable Speaker is in need of some surgery on his spine?
I think very much. Because Parliament needs the surgery very fast.
What will happen now then, Mr. Dinesh, if this same group announces this time correctly and no tactical blunders and writes to the Speaker and says, we are a group of 57, we are sitting independently in Parliament? What, by tradition, should the Speaker be doing?
We have met the Speaker twice now. We are supposed to meet him in the course of the week, as he wanted us to meet him again. I could say, as the Vice President of the UPFA, we are in the opposition, we are in the majority, we have over 50 members, and we should be recognized as the leader of the opposition. If the Speaker is in difficulty, his first step could be, before he recognizes, first step could be to recognize us as the biggest group in opposition.
And why would the government, with the majority now, why would they want to oppose this move? Why would they want to oppose? What are they frightened of? Are they frightened of a robust opposition?
Very much, and they are worried about their rushed MOU You know, you get the leaders to sign, but the backbenchers are not in agreement.
Right.
This is the fear I think they have. They are not today in a confident situation, though they have got the leaders in, then backbenchers, they doubt whether they are with them.
So, do you foresee that this appointment of Mr. Sambandhan as the leader of the opposition is a happy temporary engagement until the Speaker can see the error perhaps in the ways and appoint this group of 57 as the official opposition and somebody from that to lead?
Mr. Sambandhan is a very senior member of parliament.
Yes.
We have nothing against him personally.
No.
Quite a senior member who could handle things better. But when we go by numbers, if he does not have the consent of the others, it is difficult for him to contribute, to get the opposition in parliament to act in order to get parliament business going. So obviously the Speaker will have to give due recognition to the issue, resolve it in a manner that is best for parliament to function.
You know, as the People's Channel, we had Mr. Gomin Daisiri on one of our programs, Face the Nation, last Friday. He described the 19th Amendment as stupid. Very, inimitable style, of course. But what he was saying is that no matter what, the Parliament can't be dissolved for 4 years and 6 months. Is that right? Is that a correct interpretation?
The principle is that Parliament cannot be dissolved for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
But there is a clause whereby Parliament by resolution could call upon the President to dissolve Parliament. If Parliament comes to a standstill, if the Prime Minister cannot resolve of running government with the members, then Parliament can jointly pass a resolution requesting the President to dissolve Parliament. That is in the 19th Constitution Amendment.
So there is an opt-out clause.
There is, but that is a very, very difficult clause.
It's difficult to achieve. So even if they lose a finance bill, God forbid, they'll still be the Parliament will not be dissolved. Perhaps can the President change the Prime Minister?
I think far as you got the key point, President can make changes of government and the Prime Minister in this period.
I see.
There is nothing to prevent that.
Ah, good.
So that may be why everyone was talking about stability, so that we don't have elections often, but perhaps governments could change.
Good. Well, I think because when we have a look at it now, there is only one clear mandate that anyone has received in the majority, and that is the President. He has got a clear mandate. He's got more than his President Rajapaksa. So in contrast to Mr. Wickremesinghe, who is struggling, even though he is the largest party, he doesn't have the majority. He hasn't got the 113.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have the 113. So he has to depend on so many others and so many factors.
Do you think he's rather an unlucky chap? Because he's never been in power, as Prime Minister with a clear field ahead.
No, I think he's a very lucky chap.
Oh, is he?
He can't be so unlucky to become Prime Minister for the 4th time.
That's true. That's true.
Others are unlucky that they cannot manage to maneuver him out. So it will take time.
I'm going to jump in here,
yes,
and I'm going to throw a question to Mr. Gunawardena. Mr. Gunawardena, you've been talking about the stronger party in the opposition having a clear representation of 57 members. Of course, we have the public are aware of this national government, good governance, those principles. How would you relate to the situation in Parliament right now in light of those principles and what the President and the Prime Minister are hoping to achieve? Do you think that those principles are in fact being met, or do you feel that there is more that needs to be done in terms of achieving those principles?
Yeah, I think basically what they try to do by bringing the 19th Amendment and including this clause was to force the two major parties to get together. But it did not, the wording had to change in committee stage. Still the national, I don't know, I mean so many legal and political opinion does not agree that it's a national government, forgetting that it's a coalition of major political groups in parliament. So going by that, there is a lot to do. I don't think by just making the number of ministers or bringing it to 100, giving each and every one a portfolio or head of a department which is run by a director all these years is going to make it a stable national government. Is how you tackle the issues, whether you agree on the issues, and especially the economy and day-to-day affairs of running government.
That's right. What have they agreed on for the national benefit? Is it just in the, I can't see any statement or anything that says, any one thing that says, look, this is what we've agreed because it's in the national interest? Or is it this agreement, this coalition, this agreement, is it merely an agreement to share the portfolios?
Basically, it seems to be that they are interested in sharing portfolios. Because for us in our country, politics have come down to that level now. People are only interested in what you get in return and what office you can get, irrespective of what you can deliver. You can't be a minister of a department and deliver national policy. I mean, it's absurd. It doesn't work. So more the numbers you have, we have the central government with almost 100 ministers, deputies and state. We have the provincial government with another 50. So I mean, all these ministers are ministers to run day-to-day affairs. Colossal waste of public money. This is what I feel. Whether our former president did it or whether the present president did it, it is a colossal waste of funds and mismanagement of the economy that will come.
Mr. Gunawardena, on that note, and for us as well, I'm going to draw your attention to a story that's appeared in the Mirror Business page. Economist warns major shift in policy to avoid Greece-like crisis. This is a story, of course, with regards to Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy's address to the Planters Association, their AGM. And he has rung a warning bell. I'm just going to read out the key points there. He says, public needs to be educated and made aware of macroeconomics, economic troubles due to budget deficit caused by election goodies and commercial foreign loans, must move away from traditional industries to competitive high-tech processes. Now, this is something that has been mentioned by Dr. Kumaraswamy. What are your thoughts, Mr. Gunawardena, on these key factors?
I would share what Dr. Kumaraswamy has stated. He is one of the respected economists of our country who has not only served in Sri Lanka and internationally. There is a serious economic and financial crisis in our country, which has been ignored because 1 month we have spent of the Prime Minister and the President enjoying power and making it a business of appointing and selecting. 1 month went. 10 days ago, Central Bank tried to issue another bond, which was withdrawn. It failed. It was withdrawn. We are in an international crisis. I hope we don't end up like Greece, but we are in a very serious financial government revenue has dropped. International obligations financially have to be met. Development projects, if to run, according to the budget, we need money. Big question, how do we get the funds?
For us, anything to...
Yes, what I want to say is Mr. Kumaraswamy said this at the Planters Association, is it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Well, I want to bring up something completely different. The plight of the plantation workers. Now, I think they get paid about 575 rupees a day on the days that they work. And the companies claim that they have no money and it's a loss-making enterprise and this, that and the other. I'd like somebody to have a look at the accounts of the management companies. Because you see, if I had a business that continuously lost money, I'd close it down. So I don't know why these people are knowingly making losses every year. All I'm saying is, there is money to be had when we travel abroad and when we see the supermarkets full of RTs, then we know something's ticking and something's going right. There are profits being made, but my contention is that the profits are being hidden. They're being hidden in management companies and so on. This must be fully looked at, and it must be looked at with the wider picture. And these companies, it's disgraceful that these workers are being kept down in such a state. And there has been a suggestion that they should get about 1,000 rupees a day, which at 30,000 rupees a month brings them into the mainstream, really.
That is if they show up for work on all 30 days.
That's right, but you know, it's disgraceful that the people are just talking about, with all due respect, he was talking about the economy at large. But these companies make money. They earn money in dollars and they spend money in rupees. I find that unacceptable, and I don't know what these people in charge of, the ministers in charge of these plantations and so on, are doing. I'd like to know how many of those children have ended up in university, for example, or have become doctors and accountants and surgeons. I'd really like to know. And the files will start looking into these matters.
On that note, for us, and that is something that I'm sure will be drawn on and will be looked into as well. Well, on that note, I believe our time is up for this edition of Newsline. Mr. Gunawardena, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, for us, any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, talking of characters and so on and so forth, I thought I'd say this. Our character is what we do when we think nobody's looking. But just remember, the People's Channel will be watching. On that note, have a good morning.